Hey guys, I'm Angel. Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2020, and today we're doing a short bush hop. We are going from Bella Coola here to Machmell Fisheries, which is about 44 nautical miles away from us to the south. The airport we're going to is a small bush trip, which is one of a couple of freeware ones, which we'll be doing some trips to recently. There's a bunch of freeware ones in Canada that have been added recently. You can find a lot of these on MSFS2020.org. I will post a link in the description. Tons of great freeware on that site. Go check them out. They're awesome. But we're in our caravan today, and we are going to go get ourselves started up. So, shouldn't be too much of a troubling little adventure. So we're going to want to put on our battery and our starters, of course. So battery master to on. I'm going to put our fuel boost to on. Starter is on. That's external power. We don't need that. Leave avionics for now. Ignition is on. Our fuel is about to be on. And we're going to get start up here. Should be good. Let's get avionics on, shall we? Looking good. Oh. Fuel boost is now off. We're good to go. And let's set our ignition to normal. There we go. Okay, throttle is looking good, so we'll set our flaps for takeoff. And because we are here at little untowered locale, I always forget where the there it is in the caravan. Okay, so we're good to taxi. We're going to head to the runway and head out for a straight departure. Nice easy little trip today. It shouldn't be too taxing for us. And as you can tell, ground handling definitely improved, as I mentioned from previous. Now I've turned down the refresh rate on the glass cockpits until Microsoft does something about them. So you'll see them a little bit more stuttery than usual. Whilst the world is smooth around me, the glass cockpits are like, I'm going to be a little bit trickier. I just turned the refresh rates down. Bella Coola traffic, November 403 Sierra X-ray is entering 23 for departure, straight out. Okay, we're good to go. Now I've mentioned this previously that Microsoft fixed the issue of dropping off a cliff with your turboprops when you throttle back to flight idle by simply moving the 0 point into beta range. You'll see when we land. Okay, let's rock and roll. Speed coming up for us. We should be off the runway in no time whatsoever today. Caravan's got a lot of power behind it, so it helps us get out of here. Beautiful scenery up here as I'm drifting towards the end of the runway, or edge of the runway I should say. Pull that throttle back a little bit so we don't overstress the PT6. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous world and the weird patch of flat, no trees that exists there. Good work, Microsoft. Still very obviously a work in progress. Let's pull some pitch back so we're not quite as heavy. We've got a bit of nose down there from the flap retract. But we're on a good climb out profile now with the caravan coming out at about 100 knots or so, just under 110. Manage our pitch for that. It's a little choppy today with the weather. Using current live weather in Bella Coola, British Columbia. It's a little cloudy, a little choppy. Winds are about 12 knots, gusting 15. So it's a little bit more brisk than previous. But we have a fairly simple flight today. We head down here towards the big opening in the valley, and we turn south. Sounds simple? It is. Basically get to the water, and then look for it to go splush. That's a lot more simple than I think it really is. But we need to head down to... I can scroll on this, I think. I can't scroll on that. That's annoying. We'll reach it in a moment. Town of Bella Coola down there below us. Way more traffic than I think there is in real life. We'll get to the main estuary here and the fjord itself. And once we do just that, we should be on track. There's the fjord. Honestly, no need for Orbex really in this area other than airports because it's really enhanced the whole place. Although there are definitely bits they could touch up and fix. I've mentioned this previously, but it certainly adds to the experience. God, that's beautiful. I always need to talk about the lighting in this game, but it really does it for me. Okay, well, we'll pull over. We'll swing over to this side of the valley a bit more so you can get a nice view down. Let's drop our nose down now. We're leveling off a little bit more. We don't need to go too high. It's not a very long trip today. But out by the Limburg reference down the side window, you'll be able to see the village of Bella Coola just coming up here on the left, and the estuary here at the end of the fjord where the river enters into this natural kind of ice canyon that was created after the melting of the last ice age, the Holocene period. It's funny there's a band called Holocene as well. It's like, there's nothing really cold about them. They're a metal band, go figure. They saw the name and thought it looked cool. But so we'll be flying down this way today, and you'll notice there'll be a large break in the fjord which heads south. That will be our road map for today. We're flying VFR bush rules, so it's literally turn left at the fjord. Yeah, the way these things work a lot of the time. Now I could just go straight through the valley, but that would be ruining the fun, wouldn't it? That'd be nothing to enjoy. Look at that down there. Beautiful. Beautiful. My God, this sim blows me away. Every time I fly, it blows me away. I try and make it new every time I go somewhere, and it truly is stunning. Alright, let's just level ourselves out completely. That should be us up ahead there. So I think that's going to be our turning point here. Then it'll be due south right to the fisheries. So it's about 3,500 feet. This will do us just nicely. So we'll just inch the nose forward a little bit and trim out. We'll fix that trim with speed, so it's going up a little bit. Just nudge the throttle back a touch. I always find it's better to kind of roughly trim the aircraft with pitch trim and then just smooth it out with speed, and you'll get a very, very stable trim that you don't have to play around with a lot. Same thing applies in real life as it does in the sim. Set your pitch trim roughly to where you want to be, and you basically can capture it essentially with speed. And you'll find the aircraft does not really want to pitch up or down at that point. A little bit further back. I can see my throttle juddering a little bit when I move it, which makes me think that, well, not only is it kind of sticky down there in the SciTech quadrant, but I might be needing to clean those pots again. That's something that tends to happen with the SciTech throttle quadrants. They get kind of sticky, because when SciTech made them, they used truck axle grease, I'm guessing, to grease the bearings, which works its way down into the potentiometers. And I cannot wait for the Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant to come out, and I will hopefully be doing a video on that for you guys when it comes out at the end of October, so less than a month away. I will be purchasing both the Honeycomb yoke and quadrant. I'll be doing reviews for both of them. The quadrant will be coming out new about that time. Okay, so we're starting to get a broken cloud about our altitude, or a little bit higher. The front moving in this way, judging by the cloud movement, so I'm going to drop it down here a little bit. Just nudge ourselves down. I'm using the Cessna SciTech throttle quadrant system, sorry, yoke system I should say, and pedals, which was a limited edition run that SciTech made back before they were Mad Cats, back before they were Logitech, where they partnered with Cessna and they made a replica 172 yoke and pedal set, which are phenomenal. The toe brakes and pedals are fantastic. The yoke itself, unlike the ProFlight yoke, actually has the full 180 degrees of travel, unlike the 45 each direction the ProFlight yoke has. The Cessna had a full 90 each direction, so 180, making it accurate to a real aircraft yoke's movement. So probably the best you could get for the price, and most realistic for the price at the time. Don't believe they're made anymore, unfortunately, as we're going to start turning south here into this beautiful view. Nothing but mountainside and trees below us, so most of the good sort of views are out the front, and the mountains just to our west over there. The sea is that way, out that window. Look at that. That is gorgeous with the sunlight and the cloud. That's phenomenal. They have certainly made a good job of this thing, and I'm not really seeing a problem with the refresh rate on the glass cockpit down. I've turned the glass cockpit refresh rate down to minimum, because that's one thing I've noticed is the glass cockpits have a definite performance impact. I turned the refresh rate down to basically minimum, and I'm just going to be a little bit brutal with the controls here, but other than it being a tiny bit jerky, and I'm not sure how much that compares to medium or high, it's a tiny bit less smooth on the glass, but I can live with that, because I've notably gained about 10 to 15 FPS from turning that down to minimum. And it's sad that I should be looking for FPS in this game, this sim, running a Ryzen 7 2700X, 32 gigs of Core 7 Vengeance RAM, and a RTX 2070 Super graphics card with 370 megasecond down, coupled with solid state drives. This machine will kill Cyberpunk 2077. This machine will kill anything that's currently released on the PC market. But for some reason, I'm struggling for performance here on Flight Sim. Go figure. Yeah. Either there's something memory leaking in this, which is more than likely true, because memory leaks are one of the most common performance-limiting factors in video games. You could have the most amazing computer in the world, but if you're suffering from memory leaks in the actual code of the software, you will struggle. There's nothing you can do about it, because essentially it's running a cycle of programs but not closing the request, essentially. I'm trying to simplify it down to the most brutally simple way of explaining memory leak. It's asking it to run a process, but never telling it to stop. So you'll notice that a resource will basically grow in its demand in terms of size, but never reduce. So it ends up capturing resources and not releasing them, and it gets worse. So we're still just taking ourselves south here. I'm using my Garmin Pilot app on my iPad to just keep track of the valley we're in, because I know once we get a big kick to the right at the bottom, we'll head down here, it'll narrow down until we pass through a small canyon, then it'll widen out again, the canyon will turn to the right. I'm thinking we're going to reach the source of this fjord here, because this fjord feeds into the one behind us and heads out to sea. So water is technically flowing towards us here. We'll reach the source of this fjord, go across the hill, or mountain I should say, go down the far side along the source of the next one to the south of us, and we'll turn to the west, at which point we'll be arriving at the fishery. So we've got a good speed going right now. We're just descending down to about 2,500. I'm probably a little bit low right now, so I'm going to level out and think about heading back up again, because if we're going to be climbing over a mountaintop or even a pass, I think I want some sort of ability to get up there quickly. So we'll just level out here. We're still going down a little bit, so notch a bit more speed. Pitch trim was roughly good, but you look how that on the vertical speed on the PFD, you'll notice that stabilizes out nicely now. See? We're basically static there, just by just nudging the throttle, kind of really capturing that pitch we want. Of course, I'm giving it a little bit of stick here when I perhaps shouldn't, but we're moving along nicely. We're taking a bit more of a scenic route than the direct route, of course. The direct route was supposed to be 16 minutes, which we should be there in 3 minutes. We're not going to be. But that would have been directly across those mountains, which, whilst it says direct route would take that long, that's point to point straight. I would have to climb up to about 8,000 feet for these mountains, so I'd have to spend my time climbing in the Bella Coola Valley, then transit in a straight line, probably through all this cloud cover. Current outside air temperatures aren't phenomenal, so I'm not going to want to basically get into that cloud for fear of icing conditions. So this way I get to stay below the cloud, maintain VFR, and it takes a little bit longer, but we're basically on the right track now. So up ahead we should be seeing things start to tighten up in the valley as the sunlight pours through those clouds. Absolutely gorgeous. You can see the water being so blue and glacial. Beautiful. Wow. In fact, I think those are 2 glaciers up ahead of us. Yeah, that would be why the water is becoming so turquoise. This is glacial meltwater coming directly into fjords here. I'm pretty positive those are going to be glaciers. Well, at least from the glare I can see on them, they look whiter than everything else, so the water tells me that, at least, from a geological standpoint. It's a nice, gentle flight. We're currently knocking in about 150 knots. Airspeed. Well, my pitch is down a little bit, so I'll just give it a bit more gas. There we go. This is how you can fly an aircraft on its engine. You can control the pitch fully with that. If you have a twin-engine aircraft, of course, you can use asymmetric throttle to fly the plane, to go up, to go down, turn left, right. That's how the flight that crash-landed at in Iowa, Sioux City, landed. Successfully saved half the passengers because they literally flew it on the engines. Other aircraft have done it since. It's rare, it's risky, and it's definitely something you shouldn't be doing unless you're an expert at it, but this is flight sim where we can choose to do what we like. And now I'm starting to get quite a bit of glare, and I was wishing this was the Caravan, so I could go, hey you, fold down, but I can't because it's the Asobo one. Oh, we're getting choppy here. Probably some lee downdrafts coming from the mountain there. Looking at the amount of airspeed, altitude we're dropping, sorry. Yeah, that's going to be downdraft coming from the mountains, which means the winds are getting stronger up high. I don't want to be up too high for this. Those cliff faces on the edges, that's telling me that's either Asobo and Black Shark AI have screwed up the terrain mapping, or those are glaciers. Judging by the watercolour on top of it, that could be a glacier. I'm not sure. That looks like it might be buggered water, which is also possible. Great work, Asobo. You can manage to get the water level of one body right, but then utterly screw up the adjoining bodies. Fantastic. This is what happens when you're pulling not enough data points with something. You know, one body of water, you take a data point at X, Y, Z locations rather than X, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You end up with that sort of crap because the last data point says it's higher than it should be, and it joins this body of water which is a certain altitude, and that was probably tracked basically about there or here. Is probably the last data point it has for it, which means you get those sort of cliff edges, which is why I'm hoping that companies like Orbex will end up doing regions like their True Earth stuff, or where they improve vector data, which is what controls most of this stuff. And I know the data exists because Orbex literally used it, so it definitely exists. It kind of ruins the experience a little bit. But see, I'm not sure. That's looking very white around that. But that's too narrow to be a glacier. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we're very dramatically off track here. So this is the end of our valley, and it's looking pretty easy flying through there. Okay, so actually we're not going to have to climb at all, but we'll pass through this gap here. And we should be coming out closer to the kink that leads us through to Machmell Fisheries. We'll pretend we're dropping off workers or something here. And we'll continue the flight south in another video onto the second one, which is the Quattam River Lodge. Gorgeous little place where bears spawn, apparently, of the animal variety. I know the sim has AI animals, and that would be gorgeous to see those. Also, at least this isn't a cub that they're likely to eat. So there's a benefit there. Okay, heading over the kind of estuary portion here and the wetlands. Oof, yeah, it's getting a bit choppy as we're getting closer to these hillsides. We need to be careful about that. Just gonna want to play with the aircraft a bit. Okay, keep it nice and trim through here. One thing I've noticed is the actual aerodynamic modelling is a lot better in this. It's a bit choppier than it should be. Perhaps it's making it a bit more dramatic for sim feeling, but yeah, it's definitely a lot more assertive than it was in Flight Sim X, which really, Turbulence didn't feel like it really had much effect until you added add-ons into the sim. Probably going to catch a bit of turbulence when we open and pass this valley mouth, because airflow will be buffeting in here. It'll be like you see in city streets where you're in the middle of a block, it's less windy, you get near a corner, much windier. You get that kind of canyon effect. Oh yeah, that's bucking us around a little bit here. Woo! Hello, cowboy. Steady on. And here's the southern fjord. Okay. Looking good. easy, lemon squeezy. Big rock formation up there, I think. That or Microsoft farted. Also likely. Yeah, Microsoft farted. Well, you know what? Compared to default FSX, default P3D, and basically every other default sim without any scenery add-ons, this ain't bad. In fact, I'd say it's really, really good compared to those. I keep harping on about that fact, but, you know, I see these little inconsistencies amongst such a gorgeous sim, and I think, if anything, those little errors in FSX where the visuals were not as good, they didn't stand out as badly, whereas in something this stunning, it stands out way more. And I think that upsets me a little bit more, that it's just so much more visible compared to the beauty of this. Okay. We're starting to get some uplift now. Flying through valleys like this might look simple, you know, you're not flying too high, we're about 2,800 feet right now, but I just gained 400 feet, 500 feet in a couple of minutes there from passing these valley entrances. It's much more dangerous than it looks, because the winds will play with your aircraft. I mean, you have to remember, we're flying a pretty hefty turboprop here. It's a very stable aircraft, and it's even buffeting us around. And this is a mild day, you know. Weather's no joke, and when you get into the sort of topographic issues regarding wind and orographic lift and conditions, it can become really tricky. But what is that? Oh yeah, it's a floating river. Great work, Asobo. Nice, yeah. That data is a bit balked. That data is very balked. Nice. God damn it. Come on, Orbex, please use the vector data from your scenery areas that you've released, like all the PNW, Central, Rocky Mountains, Northern Rockies, Californias, Alaskas, Canadas. Please release the vector data for that as a DLC. I'll buy it separately. But release the damn vector data and the elevation data for stuff. And keep the textures from this, they're quite pretty, but put your elevation and, you know, terrain data in there. Your modelled elevations and things, and just give us that. I've said it before, but I think the True Earth stuff they released was basically them preparing for 2020, you know, high quality photo scenery with full, what do you call it? Autogen. I think this was them preparing for it. I hope it was them preparing for it. And please, release, please. I'm expecting something that's not this, and I'd like it to be a little bit better. Thanks, yeah, thank you. I ramble slightly at times, I do apologise. It's that, or look at all the wonderful scenery here, as I mean, I'm still getting buffeted around quite a bit. Things should be a little smoother now as the terrain has opened up a bit more. No word yet from Milviz on any releases that are upcoming. We know they have plans for the T-50 Bobcat, the 310, the Beaver, Porter, and the Baron. How soon those will come, I don't know. So far we have 3 payware aircraft. The Coronado 182 Turbo, the Mooney Ovation, both of which are great. Love them. The Mooney especially, being a steam-gauged aircraft, love it. There's also the Big Tire Simulations Kit Fox, which is unfortunately, in my vote, if it was Kiss, Marry, Adult Hug. Sorry, no, what was it? Marry, Adult Hug, Murder. It would be Marry the Mooney, Adult Hug the 182, and definitely Murder the Kit Fox. Could have been great. Rushed out. Animations not fixed. Controls missing. Engine that behaves weirdly. Like, I get wanting to release your content and get it there early, but man, that thing wasn't ready. Like, that was not ready at all. Come on. Okay, how far are we out? A quick look at the panel. We're 3.6 nautical miles. We are really, really close, actually. Oh yeah, this little dog leg here in the river is the corner, so this bit comes right before it turns that way. So this is about to turn that way here, which would be that. So the fisheries should be there, I think. Yep, I think the fisheries are over here somewhere. We'll see when we get closer what we can find. Or it could be slap bang here. I don't know. Let's throttle back a little bit here, and we're coming really fast at 160 knots. And there's not a huge amount of room here to get turned around. I think I can see the runway direction there. And there's some boats down in the water. Machmell Fisheries traffic, November 403 CR X-rays type Caravan inbound for landing. I know there's nobody here because it's what AI is coming to this sort of place, but you know, you never know who else is flying around an area. We're going to probably head up that fjord there, turn around and come back in for the approach. Yeah, there's our river, our runway, sorry. Or actually, we'll go this way. I know right now our winds are from the west, so based on the terrain impact we've had, without me actually physically looking at what the wind is, I can tell it's from the west. Because we were getting the downdrafts from the mountains on our right-hand side, pushing the aircraft down because we were closer to that side. If we were closer to the left-hand side, you'd see us being lifted up by that same effect. So that would tell us which way it's coming from. Okay, so gonna start swinging her around. Machmell Fisheries traffic 03 Sierra X-ray is turning for final. Full stop. Okie dokie, here we go. Need a bit more power here, we're pretty close to stall line. Let's get sort of down a little bit here whilst we're doing it. Ooh, hello. I'm being a little coy with this one. And we are hella high. Oh, hell no. Whoopsie doodle. Just float down for me. Thank you. It's not like I'm just doing a right-hand turn in a large aircraft. We're okay. Whoa, there we go. Oh, we're not making this approach. I'm going to have to come back around. Unless I do some jank-ass BS, I'm not making this approach. 03 Sierra X-ray going around. Entering left traffic. Yeah, no, we were not making that. We were way too high. And that is really tight, actually. That is a very, very tight runway. I had too much altitude and airspeed to make it in there, even with some jank-ass side-slipping of a frickin' Caravan. Oh, there's a boat. Fishing boat below us. We'll maintain altitude here below about 1,000 feet. Fly out a little bit further and make a longer approach because it's so narrow. I really want to make sure I can get this done. Okay. So our approach is really tight there. We're going to have to basically turn base late here. Make it really, really tight. This gets quite obstructive. I could fly around that and come around the other side, but based on the terrain mapping here, that just isn't a thing that extends back behind it. So these are two separate valleys rather than one with a lump in between them. So let's give it some flaps here to maintain some stability. We're going to take this danger close, because we are quite a big plane compared to what most likely will go in here a lot. I think there's a small cabin down there. Huh. Hi, cabin people. There you go, there's a little cabin in the woods. Wow, that is remote AF. Okay, so that's our field there. It's going to be more than a 90-degree turn here, so you need to be super duper careful. Let's bang it out a little bit more this way. Fisheries traffic, 03 Sierra X-ray, turning final. 27. Okay, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? There we are. There we are. Got it. Okay. I see it. I'm going to go full flaps for this approach. I've got the power to get out of it if I need to, but I want the speed. Okay. We're lined up good. Here we go. We're looking good. Throttle's closed. Gonna want a bit more throttle here. I can feel myself coming in short. That tree on the left bothers me a little bit. just in the pathway. Why didn't you clear that one? Like, seriously, chop that one down for Christmas. Please. Oh, this is tight. Oh, this is tight. This is a really fun strip. Flaps up, put some more weight on the brakes, and we're down. That is super tight. Look how close we are to the trees. There is no room for mistake here. That is wingtip width. Wow. Yeah, Caravan's a bit of a chunky boy to get in here. Oh yeah, this is a very big plane to get in here. Hoo-wee. Yeah, we're a little bit oversized, I think. Hi folks. We're here. Okay, let's put the parking brake on. Okay. No, go. Sod off. There we go. Okay, and we're shut down. This is where we'd open our doors and get people out, but it's in a Sobo default aircraft, so I can't. But we can take a look around the field. So, without further ado, drop my controller. Go into our drone mode. We've got a nice little cabin here. This is gorgeous. Look at this. Cabin there with a pickup truck. Or for log towing in that configuration. Piles of logs probably going out via some sort of thing. I don't know, a plane get in there that could lift that stuff. Ah, nice. This is technically the parking area, I guess, with a plane appropriately sized for getting into here. A cub. A little AI one parked up here. So, what's over here? We've got the beach front. A fishing boat out there. A tiny runway, which I swear to God is about the same size as the Caravan we just brought in. This is a beautiful little bush strip. I love this. And even included a portaloo. Gorgeous. Well, folks, we're here at, I keep forgetting the name of it. Machmell Fisheries? That's the one, Machmell Fisheries. Thanks for watching. There's a link, of course, to MSFS add-ons in the description where you can find a lot of these freeware strips. They're gorgeous. This is what Emerald Designs made this one, I believe. We'll be heading off to another destination soon. So thanks for flying with me, and we'll see you soon. Bye.